All right, good folks. Podcast. I'm going to apologize right away for the difference of audio quality. I'm recording this one off my phone, kind of kicking it old school, how we started this. I still got to get my mic downstairs and all kind of set up for the home office and everything. So I do apologize if the audio quality isn't quite up to par. But I promise, if you guys can endure it, there is something at the end that's worth it, or at least I feel it's worth it. Some new music for y'all. I'm going to include it in today's podcast. I'm not going to drop it on the channel until I don't know, maybe Friday or something. The only reason it's not on for the $5 patrons right now is because the beat that I used, I couldn't get a hold of the producer, so I had to use it for like a free for use policy, which I can't. Anything that I get money from, I can't use that instrumental for such a thing. So for the Patreon, if I put it up as a video and it was monetized, I'm not allowed to do that unless I actually purchase the beat and the license for it. So it is included in the podcast. I'll put the separate little video maybe on Friday for the folks, but I don't know. Hopefully this draws people to the podcast, kind of gets them interested in listening to more of these. You know, I feel like the podcast has like a core group of folks that like to catch them. But I would like it if more of the hooligans check the podcast out, because I get to talk about different things on this that I don't really get to on the channel sometimes. So yeah. Either way, I'm your host, JuvyThaKid. Probably should have said that before I was talking about anything else. My bad. Hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, JuvyThaKid. That's where you can get at me. You can DM me. You can tweet at me or comment on my stuff. As long as it's positive, because I don't fucking deal with trolls. It's not even that trolls get to me or negative people get to me. It's just I don't want that energy around me. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure none of the hooligans are the type that will fucking go on somebody else's page to talk shit or whatever it might be. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I don't want that type of energy around me. So as long as it's positive, y'all are all good. Excuse me. Actually, let's just get the fight picks out of the way. Okay, so skip to this time. If you're not into mixed martial arts, I want to get into just some quick fight picks. We'll get into other ones in the vlogs, but I just want to talk about one fight particularly. Okay, if you're still here, it's your own fault. So this Friday, December 1st, it is the Ultimate Fighter finale. I don't remember what number of season they're on, to be honest with you. But if you're honest, if you're just the casual fan that you like to watch when it's just those crazy fucking fights where both guys are just, you know, caution to the wind, whatever that saying is, it's just fucking going for broke, basically. Justin Gaethje versus Eddie Alvarez. This isn't going to the judges, and if it goes to the judges, I promise you it's going to be a memorable fight, to say the least. Justin Gaethje is 18-0, and you know, he made his name in the world, I believe it was World Series of Fighting. You know, fucking the guy was beating people. They did a tournament to come up with a number one contender for him. He beat him. He openly says, you know, I'm going to get knocked out one day. It's going to happen. The way I fight, it's inevitable. And he does. He goes out and puts on shows. And the fact that his mindset is that, and it's so calm in this chaotic environment, and that's what he thrives in. That's a different type of human being, you know? Eddie Alvarez, oh my God, Eddie Alvarez, people remember the Conor McGregor fight because it's most recent, but man, Eddie Alvarez, one of the best in the fucking world, you know, made his career fighting the best lightweights in the world, basically, especially in Japan and everything. he's a veteran, you know? Fucking this is one of those fights, like even Eddie Alvarez, he's that dude who, like, you hit him, he swings back. Like, look, go watch his fights with Michael Chandler. Oh my god, those fights are so good. I don't know. I feel like this is one of those things where, because Eddie Alvarez had the Conor McGregor fight, he comes back and fights Dustin Poirier, that ends in a really controversial manner, you know, knee to a downed opponent, and it was just, I don't know, it was a weird ending. It was a good fight up until that point. So Eddie Alvarez, this is kind of his opportunity to show, you know, I'm still here, like I can still fucking hang with these dudes, you know what I mean? Like, it's, I didn't have my little run in the UFC and then that was it. But Justin Gaethje, you know, he's coming off of that fucking crazy chaos with fucking Michael Johnson. Oh, like even that fight, just back and forth, both guys getting rocked. It's just the primal part of me just loves it. The other side of me is going, oh my god, your poor brains. You know, like fuck. But that's what the guys do. You know what I mean? We all have risks that we know is a part of something, and we do it anyway. So, man, see, it's one of those things. The experience factor 100% goes to Eddie Alvarez. That's not even debatable. Man, this is a hard one, to be honest. I don't want to say that Eddie Alvarez is stronger or anything. He's definitely been through a lot of wars, though. It'll be, fuck. It's one of those things. Like if he gets tagged, you know, can that chin still hold up as it's known? This is one of those ones where my mind says Justin Gaethje, but my heart says Eddie Alvarez, just because I've been a fan for so long. I don't know. I feel like I can't pick against Eddie Alvarez, but I can 100% see Justin Gaethje winning. That's what kind of fight this is. It's literally either guy could land that punch, you know. So fuck, it's definitely tune in this Friday. Go on the UFC website to get all the details and everything, because I know some folks are in Canada, some folks are in the States listening to this, so you'll have to check out your local listings. The UFC 218, what was it? Max Holloway versus Jose Aldo, the rematch. It was originally supposed to be Frankie Edgar. I'll dive more into that card in the vlogs and everything, just because there are a few good fights on there that I want to talk about. So we will wait for that one. But yeah. All right, that ends MMA talk. Nice to have the other folks back. How do? Okay. Okay, so for those interested, this Wednesday on the History Channel, Vikings Season 5. Is it Season 5? I believe it is. That starts this Wednesday. Jesus Christ, it's going to be nuts. Like, even just the Comic-Con trailer had me so hyped. Floki on his own little journey, like, kind of like, man, if anybody is walking that line between, like, the gods and, like, humans, it's Floki. You know, he's always been one of my favorite characters. I don't even want to get into it, like, some things, because it'll be spoilers, and I don't know where folks are in the show. It's pretty recent, so. Either way, I think this is kind of taking place towards the end of the Viking era, when knights and everything kind of started becoming more prevalent. Excuse me. It'd be really interesting if Floki, you know, got a message from the gods, or like saw what was going to happen. You know what I mean? That'd be pretty cool. I don't know. Vikings is such a good show. I'm also a little like biased because like I've always loved the Vikings, like tales and Norse mythology and Celtic mythology and everything. Um, a lot of folks don't know is that a few Norse clans and everything also came, I believe, over to Ireland and Scotland and everything as well. Um, so there are chances if if your bloodline comes from like Scotland and everything primarily, you could have some Nordic blood in you as well. It's pretty interesting the way the world works like that. Either way, but yeah, so like this is kind of taking place towards like the end of the Viking era. I don't know if this is gonna be the last season. I could see it being the last season if it's gonna be towards the end of it. It makes sense. Um, I like how they took the legends and stories of Ragnar Lothbrok and certain other characters from Norse mythology and brought them into the show in a way that makes sense and is like actually really cool too. Um, I'm really excited to see this Ivar. I don't know. I don't want to call it a saga, but in Norse mythology, Ivar the Boneless. Um, go just some of the stories about him have always interested me. I don't know. I'm really excited for this season, though. I think it's going to be really, really good to me. Like, I don't know. It'll be interesting to kind of see, like, Ragnar's sons and everything kind of going against each other in a way, too, you know? Like, what really happens when family is fighting for what each of them feel is theirs, and they're willing to die for it. Makes for interesting dynamics on the battlefield. Another thing, actually, to stay on this whole Viking topic, quick sip of the coffee first. I don't know. As a mass quantity thing, I guess we could say, the Viking era did end. But as a niche quantity, like a niche market type thing, not as used like nowadays where it's like selling things and whatever. But like, I don't know, I was thinking, you know what I mean? Like, did the Viking age or the Celtic age, you know, to their respective regions, did they ever really end? Think about it. Like nowadays, there's even growing up, I knew people who were like super into Vikings and Norse mythology and everything like that, and it's like I just don't. Like, it's one of those things. If the love of something, or even if you know that is like your family's connection as well, if you keep certain traditions alive or you keep certain beliefs alive, like instead of Jesus and God, something that came 500 years after, you know, a lot of the Norse beliefs. I may be wrong about that. I might be thinking about I might be thinking of a different tribe of people. I'm pretty sure the Vikings. Let me think. I was just reading The Real Middle Earth again for some brush up things. Can't remember. Damn. I believe it was the Vikings, and then I want to say probably 200 to 500 years after is when, like, Jesus and God kind of became a factor in that world. But it was a long fucking time. But it's one of those things where it's like, you know, like if people still believed in Odin, still prayed to Odin and Thor, and, you know, does that culture ever really go away? You know? Yes, obviously, like the practices of a culture change and adapt through history and through time, adapt to like the surroundings. But does it ever really end? If we still keep the love of like Odin and the stories of Thor and Rollo and Ivar the Boneless, Eric the Red, do their legacies, do their time in history, does it ever really end? if there's at least some of us that go back to those stories and, you know, maybe those are the gods we're listening to or like trying to hear from. Does the Viking Age ever really end? Does the Celtic Age ever end? If there's Egyptians or anybody else, whatever, you know, thinking about Osiris and Ra and, you know, the Anubis, does the ancient Egyptian culture go anywhere? Again, I say, the practices of that culture change. They adapt through time and everything, but if that culture is still kept like alive and still, you know, people still have love of those gods or those people in those times, does it ever, like, I don't know, does it ever really end? Sorry about that. Got a cool little pen for my shatter. So when I'm doing my podcast and everything, I don't have to worry about like packing a bong and everything. I can just hit my pen and we're good to go. You know what I mean? Got a cool little glass bottle kind of thing that I just keep it in. Just, I don't know. No reason. Just, it's in my little office area. I didn't have a use for this little glass bottle. It has a skull and crossbones. So I was like, hey, I'll keep my pen in there. Make sure it doesn't fucking roll off anywhere and get broken and shit. But yeah, I don't know. It was just something I was thinking about with the whole, when people say like, you know, certain things are dead or that era's gone. It's just, I don't know. Does it ever really end if we like still have that thriving interest in it? Or growing interest in it? I don't know. Something to think about, you know what I mean? Okay, let's go over to the Instagram post. Dropped it on y'all kind of last minute. I know we have one, so at least touch on that. And I've always said, as long as there's one, it's getting, I almost said it's getting touched on, but that's kind of wrong. I don't know. Fuck it. Take it for what it is. You know what I mean. Okay. Loyalist City photos. Tips for starting a business! Exclamation mark. I don't know. There's a lot of tips, man. See, it's hard too for some of them because, like, you know, you got to separate your emotions and your business. Like, you can't run a business and like run it off how your emotions are and like what your opinions of everything are. You know what I mean? Like, obviously there's certain people and certain causes you don't want to be associated with. That's understandable. But it's one of those things, like, I don't know. Just for example, if you're like a t-shirt designer or like a graphic artist and you're not a Marvel fan, I'm making this up as I go, so just bear with me. You're a graphic artist, you know, you're not a Marvel fan, and you know, you don't really have a problem kind of voicing that. Well, if you do really, really good art, like Boss Logic or something like that, but you're kind of always trolling and talking shit about like things, people aren't going to want to work with you, you know? People aren't like, I highly doubt anybody from Netflix or Marvel is going to be like, hey man, let's fucking work together. Dude, can you do this poster for us? Like Boss Logic, he's been fans of certain things, done artwork, and then it's led to bigger things for him. You know, it's one of those things, like, you have to separate like personal opinions and emotions, you know? I don't know. You got to be true to yourself though too. Like, for me, you know what I mean? Like, if it'd be different, like if somebody else wanted to get involved with doing the shirts and everything like that, I'd be very questioning of it. With Jay Coulter, like me and him have followed and talked back and forth like for a while now. I've been a huge fan of his. He's been kind enough to send me artwork, you know what I mean? Did an awesome original Batman thing for me. there was no question in my mind when he hit me up and he was like, hey man, like I did the shirt kind of design for you or whatever. Well, first he let me know, like he asked which one I liked better because he did two different ones. You know, and there was never a question in my mind of, oh, should I do this with Jay? Like, what, you know, what does he, I didn't have to go to his social media and kind of like see what he represented and see what kind of things he was posting and saying, you know? But you got to be careful with that. You just, I don't know. Depending on, it depends on the business you're running too. You know, you got to be true to yourself. But you also have to keep certain things separate from the business. Like obviously if you, I don't know, if you're trying to do like a clothing line, like your own kind of independent company, and it's different when you kind of like you're your own boss, that you have room to tell people to fuck off basically. But you don't want to do that too much because if you don't have that big following to keep you afloat, like you got to build that up first. I don't know. Don't try and fucking leech the people, you know what I mean? Like that company Supreme, I don't know if they're doing it as a joke just to basically be like, man, these fucking kids will buy anything. Like putting just Supreme on like an empty pop can or a crowbar and selling it for like $100 or whatever it is. It's like some people actually buy this shit. But for me, I'm just like, man, that's kind of fucked. But business is hard because there's two sides to this. There, you know, on one side it's the company where it's like, oh, these people are dumb, they'll fucking buy anything basically. But then on the other side it's like, well, fuck, like if people are gonna buy this and pay this money because it just has a logo on it, and you know, that's kind of feeding my family, that's helping me stay afloat. It's hard, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I guess that's for me. It's like a personal opinion on that company. You know, it's not my business or anything. I just think it's weird. Like, don't do shit like that. If you're gonna do something like, I don't know, make like a cool, like exclusive sticker only for like, or like a shirt design for like a limited time. You know what I mean? I don't know. Just don't do stupid things and just try and get money off people any way that you can. You know, if you're gonna do clothing, make sure you're getting like quality stuff. You definitely don't want to be like printing on like shitty quality shirts, because that will come back. Especially nowadays with social media, it's easy for people to get back in contact with you about something. Yeah, so like if you're doing clothing and stuff, make sure you're getting like quality stuff that you're printing on. People aren't going to be upset about it. Yeah, I think that's all I can think of for right now, unfortunately. I don't know, man. Just like be who you are, you know what I mean? But like, I don't know. Maybe it's just different because like I see a lot of negative people nowadays, and like at some point they just don't give a fuck. I don't know if it's because like the money changed them or what happened. But I see, like, I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like, if you get what you give, you know what I mean? If you're an asshole like in business or like in life and stuff, like that shit catches up with you. So I don't know. Just be who you're gonna be. You know what I mean? But don't play a character, obviously. Shit, I just had another one pop in my head. I can't remember. Oh, fuck. Whatever. Sip of the coffee. Delicious. Yeah, I think that's it for now, folks. Yeah. I think that's where we're going to cut it. Gave like tips for business. Might not be great tips, but I don't know. It's not like I'm a millionaire, so I don't know. Take it for what it is, right? I don't know. I really want to, like, folks, just give thought to that whole, do cultures and like histories or like, you know what I mean, legacies, whatever. Do they ever really die? Do they ever really end? You know? It's just something interesting I was thinking about. I'd love to hear the hooligans' thoughts on all that. So we're going to cut it. I want you guys to remember the 2 links in the description. Hooligan Squad shirts, mouse pads, posters, hoodies, whatever, basically whatever you want the logo on, you can click it, add it to your cart. Actually, I'm going to check right now to see when the Black Friday no, it still says you can yeah, it says they're still on sale, so price will increase in 31 hours. So you still have till tomorrow night roughly to get it on sale and everything, which I would recommend. But yeah, patreon.com/churchofjuvie. $2 a month, you get a thank you video customized for you, blasted out on my social medias. $5 patrons, you get the thank you video plus exclusive content, early access to stuff. I'm going to do a VR video soon for the patrons. And yeah, mucho love, hooligans. I really hope this audio quality turns out okay, because I feel like this was a good podcast. I enjoyed it. You know, I kind of stumbled my way through those business tips and everything, but that's the hard thing when people ask you like to list certain things or like tips on certain things. It's just, I don't know, you know what I mean? Because like, especially with business, it's just there's so many different variables in it. Like, you know, what kind of person are you as far as like the business goes, or like, you know what I mean? Like, what kind of business do you want to do? Like, it's like fucking, I don't know, there's so much shit. It's hard to give advice, you know what I mean? Or it's hard to give right advice, I should say. So yeah, okay, enough of this rambling on. I give you folks some new music. Like a Fool, produced by Hala-X of Shadowville Productions. Enjoy. Hey, JuvyThaKid, Hooligan Squad, what up? Let's do something different. Butterflies wings and I'm the hurricane you made. Chaos, but it's beautiful to witness on display. Together we're ice and fire, dancing on the lake. It's like a pole, we're on a journey and we're walking through the page. Unknown, our tragic end that I embrace and create. Trying to keep our love strong cause we fear each other's hate. But some things you can't fight, other things is just fate. And I didn't learn that until it was too late. I'm walking in the dark and I'm searching for your light. But it feels like you turned and you vanished out of sight. All those days are ghosts and they haunt me now. Would you still come and help if I'm drowning in the crowd? Would you keep the moon and stars if I finally pull them down? You saw behind the mask and you didn't make a sound, but you had to leave the dark and won't come back now. So it's just me and the ghost and the songs I wrote down. Now I'm by myself thinking back like what happened. Wishing I could text you or get a call back. I'm feeling like I'm losing my mind, I'm cold snapping. Don't know where to go, like I'm nomadic. But I know I need you by my side like an old blanket. Right up in the sun, no stopping like there's no traffic. Music of the night, we can write while we slow travel. But I know you blame me for your pain and I can't help you. Walk between the trees and the snow, we can take pics. Don't worry about the drama cause it ain't shit. Let me take you in my arms, I'll make you painless. If everything to say so scars fade like they're ancient. Maybe we were dreaming and we're reaching for a star. Living for a wish like Aladdin and Jafar. Praying to the gods that they would hear us from afar and let us reunite when the cycle restarts.